we can. You know how to guide the direction in whichever way you want to go, right? I'll go whichever way you want to go. Whichever way
All
you
right,
want to lead the
man.
conversation,
All right,
I'm
cool.
off
I
to the
got you. I got
races.
you right here. I'll tell you what. Let's start with the paranormal.
Okay.
What got you into the paranormal?
Paranormal. It's because I was born and raised in New Orleans, man. So being born and raised in New Orleans, it's kind of like it's one of those things that you know exist,
Yeah,
as opposed to being born and raised in, I don't know, let's just say freaking Michigan somewhere.
I got you. I got
They
you.
know that they know that snow is cold. They know about the lake effect where blows across the lake. In New
Right.
Orleans, man, we know without a doubt that there is paranormal. Did you hit record? You got us recording, right?
Oh, I got you. Hey, I got us recording.
Okay. In New Orleans, we know that the paranormal is real, so it's an everyday thing. So kind of like to be aware of the paranormal, I've always been aware of it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Um, but to be involved in the field of the paranormal, I decided that I want to take my shot at telling stories to people based upon the things that my friends had encountered here in New Orleans. And
Okay.
so it just so happened that as I started to tell the stories, I realized that the majority of the stories that people were giving were kind of creepy pastas.
Yeah.
And back then, when I first started, there wasn't even a terminology for it. It wasn't called creepy pastas when I started. I was just like, yo, these stories people are telling are fake and they're
Right. Right. Right.
fraudulent. And I was like, I'm just gonna give you the real stuff. And so it actually catapulted and did way more than I ever thought it would do. And I realized that people had a hunger for that kind of information.
Hmm.
And then I moved to kind of getting the real paranormal stories from
Right.
other people because I ran out of stories from some of my friends.
Right.
And I started taking phone calls from people, talking to them, trying to get information from them just to see what was going on. And then I got even deeper into it and realized that, okay, it's such a big niche that people want to talk to you so they can become popular, so they'll lie to you.
Right.
And I just formed a system where, and I would vet through people's stories. And then I would re record the stories and add sound and add music. And it turned out to be extremely, I mean, fantastic. It
I mean,
worked
I
out
can
great.
see. I mean, you got like what 601,000 subscribers on YouTube alone. I mean,
Yeah,
that's really
yeah.
good, man. Congratulations on that. And
Thank you.
I've always been into the paranormal. My mother was big into the paranormal when she was alive. God rest her
Hmm.
soul. And she used to. We would watch scary movies all the time. Stephen King books, whatnot. And then she used to tell me
Hmm.
that her mother's house there was things that would happen in it. So as I got older, I got to learn more and more about that. How she would hear footsteps. First she thought it was just creaking in the house or whatever, and then she would see things out the corner of her eyes and whatnot. A lot of shadow figures and everything. So I delved into it.
Right.
And the first paranormal experience I had was a no-no. I used the Ouija board, which I do not believe in Ouija boards after this day. I believe they're
Right.
real. I believe they're a gateway to something evil. But I borrowed it from my friend, and my parents were gone. My dad was, that's ungodly. That doesn't come in my house. So,
Right.
being 15 and rebellious, I said, you know what? I'm gonna try it. They're gone. They're on vacation. I'm gonna try it. And I was down there doing it, and I'm gonna tell you what, man. It just the whole atmosphere just changed. Like I was in the basement, so I tried to make it as creepy as possible. So it could have just been, my eyes playing tricks on me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you get real scared or
Right.
whatnot.
Right.
So I was like, no, I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna do this, man. So I'm down there doing it, and my dad had a workroom. I was like right to the right next to where I was, and
Uh huh.
he had for some reason the old man had hubcaps nailed on the walls, like old school Ford hubcaps, like all over the place.
Real hubcaps.
Real hubcaps, man, real. And I hear one fall, so I'm like, all right, this can't be right. So I keep using the board. The board's really not spelling anything. You know what I mean? Like I think I'm moving it, but then I'm like, oh wait, am I moving it? I'm by myself, which was another big no. You're not supposed to do it by yourself. And
Right.
then I heard all the hubcaps fall. Like I mean, it's like boom, 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 boom. Scared me so bad, so bad. I ran up to my room, 15, got under my blanket like a little kid, terrified.
Yeah, I would have never did it no more after that, man. I've
No,
never
never
dealt with the
touched it.
Ouija board. I've been in places where people said they were going to start using the Ouija board, and I would just be like, "Yo, you a weirdo," and I would leave. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. That's I'm,
Like,
I'm the
"Yo,
same
y'all
way.
being weird, bro. I'm
Like
about to
I'm
leave
not
you. You
doing
being a
that. Like
weirdo."
we was just at the Velisca Axe Murder House, and they encourage it. They're
Okay.
like, nah, use the. I was like, man, I ain't using that Ouija board. So, my partner was with me. He's like, man, we got to use this Ouija board. I said, I'm not using that Ouija board. You going to use that Ouija board? I'll go stand out in the rain. You do you. I'm not. I ain't nothing about that. Those things terrify me. Like, there's times where I don't know if it's, I want to do it, but then I'm like, nah, man, I ain't trying to mess up. That's a gateway, man, because nah. But ever since then, I have just been enamored with the paranormal. I've been all over the country. I've gone to many places that are, either supposedly haunted or Hollywood haunted. And, I go through and it's each and every time I go, something else happens. Now, don't get me wrong, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be sitting there bored out your mind because ain't nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you get those one occasions that something so crazy happens. And that's what keeps me digging into it. Like, and the whole, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Man,
I thought you were.
No, you're good.
The one paranormal, I think I did 2 paranormal investigations. They were at Bloody Mary's house on the Rampart in New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the place where the guy murdered a chick after Katrina.
Yeah.
And I never really got down with it. Like, I went, they had this room full of dolls, and it was like, okay, you go in the room with the dolls, and you see if you can talk to the dolls. So they talking to the dolls. I'm just standing there. I'm like,
right.
Okay. And it was like, well, James, will you talk to the dogs? I said, ain't no dog gonna tell me nothing. As soon as ain't no dog gonna tell me nothing, the dog starts making a noise. And it's like, see, the spirits love you. I'm like, I don't really love them spirits like that. I said, I know y'all into this.
Right.
I'm here because I got paid money to come here and speak, not to be playing around with no damn demon dolls.
Yeah.
So then we went to another room, and it was like the kitchen where you cook the lady's body in the pot. And I was like, I don't do none of this. I was like, I'm gonna see y'all. I'm going downstairs. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you get to places like that. It's just, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not really with that. It was a good to see. I've experienced. It was good, but it wasn't my thing. I think the craziest thing I got invited to was, there was this girls' night out at the same place, and it was like, hey, will you come hang out with us? And because we want somebody to entertain us and tell us some stories, for our girls' night out. And she was like, it's a whole bunch of witches, and and I was like, yo, how much you paying me to do it? She's like, well, I'll pay you $300-400. And I said, I'll come. I'm down there. I'm literally down there already around the corner smoking cigars. So I come over, and I come in the room, and it's you basically the biggest hoodoo and voodoo practitioners in the city.
Right.
And they're like, will you tell us a story? I'm not like, ladies, let me ask y'all a question. It's like, what the hell I'm going to tell you that's going to scare you? And they just bust out laughing.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm just telling you, like, what am I going to tell you that's going to scare you? Like, what, and one of them was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, here go your money back. She's like, no, just hang out with us. I was like, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't know what I'm going to tell you that's going to scare you when you guys do all these different things. And so then the reason why I was able to pick up so much accurate knowledge of the paranormal is because I would just run questions by them. I'd be like, yo, is it true that people will sleep in the grave? Yeah. Why do they sleep in the grave? That's their consecration. Like, really? So I would just ask them questions. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Well, why would you do that? And, and they would just explain, well, this is it. Then it would be some things I would say, well, what about this? Nah, we're not talking about that. You don't need to know nothing about that. No, we know. And they'd be like, uniformly, nope, we're not going to tell you about that. They'd be sitting there getting their hair, their nails done, doing their hair, being girls. They just happen to be powerful witches. And I'd be like, okay, what about this? What about this? And they'll answer a few questions. Be like, look, I'm about to go back around the corner, finish smoking cigars. It was good hanging out with y'all. Good seeing y'all, blah, 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 blah. And I'll go about my business.
Right.
Because I never felt like I needed to mistreat anybody because they did, they believe differently than me. And the craziest thing is a lot of those people in New Orleans, because of how New Orleans is, people are the same way. The problem that you get into with paranormal in New Orleans is you get to the household magic, that's the problem.
Right.
You get to the household altars that are the problem. So you could be, your next door neighbor could be a hoodoo practitioner that's pissed off at you because you don't take out your garbage or you move their garbage can. And instead of them holding a conversation with you, they decide they're going to light a candle and try and curse your mind.
They're going to try to curse
you got a headache. And and it's like, yo, all you had to do was talk. Why you don't talk to the person?
Right.
And so that's the problem with New Orleans is it's integrated into the culture. So when people go, they be like, oh, I went to this voodoo house and that one and this. And I'm like, nah, that's not. Those people are cool. They the real deal, but that's not the threat. The threat is you decide you're going to stay in an Airbnb and you in the hood because they gentrified the hood and you decide, okay, I'm going to stay in this Airbnb on Rampart Street and you decide you're gonna give a big old party and got this little black lady next door that's got to go somewhere tomorrow. And she's like, "Hey, can y'all keep the noise down?" And they're like, "No, we're
Mm-hmm.
not going." And then that little black lady say, "Okay, I'm gonna ask you one more damn time.
Right.
Keep the noise down." And the next thing you know, you got stuff coming through the walls on you. That's the
Exactly.
danger of New Orleans. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I mean, yeah, I get it, man. Like, I'm on the whole, like how you're like, you believe in the paranormal, but you're not, real big into it. I'm on the flip side with
Mm-hmm.
that. I just got into cryptids, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never believed in them at first. I was like, well, how can I not believe in them and be in the paranormal? So I started opening
Right.
my mind, and I started researching skinwalkers
Mm-hmm.
because I'm into werewolves and the dog man and stuff like that. So and the whole Native American culture and whatever. So I started researching that, and I kid you not, my oldest son, was sitting with me. Now Logan, he was
Mm-hmm.
21 at the time. He said, "Dad, check this out. Look, it was a skinwalker video on TikTok. Just scrolling through, find out whatever. Dude's up on the top of the
Right.
hill. All you see is a silhouette, and he's screaming, help, help me, help, help." And they're trying to say it's a skinwalker. So I'm like, man, that's crazy. A couple nights go by. It's about,
Right.
let's say, 1:30 in the morning. My wife, God love her, she hears somebody screaming. Now, my wife is the type of person, if you in trouble, she gonna run to try to help you, no matter what. And we was living
Right.
at the time, we was living in a not so good area. I mean, we heard that gunshots and everything a lot like that.
Okay.
So we heard the screaming, and it was like, help, help me, they're gonna kill me. And I'm like, and she's up. She beeline into the door and nothing but some draws. I had to stop her. I said, "Oh, no, 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 don't go out there, don't go out there." And I listen, and it's snow all over the ground, everywhere, man. And 'cause we in Ohio, so they don't play with the snow. It's either snowing or it's snowing. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of
Right.
snow on the
Right.
ground. And I get to the door, and we're hearing this person scream right before we even open the door, and it sounds like it's
Mm-hmm.
right next to our house. I open the door. There's no footprints in the snow. There's no car tracks in the snow. I don't see
Mm-hmm.
nobody anywhere. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? We happen to look down the street. Now the legend, because every town's got a legend, and the legend of that place, there was a greenhouse that was right down the street. Supposedly is where a witch lived when she was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Real nasty woman, would kill all the pets. Say she was like, casting spells on people and whatnot. And at that house, I happened to look down there, and then my wife came out and looked, and she goes, "You see that down there? It looked like a perfect shadow, just standing there." And I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay. And then it just poof, like disappeared. So I'm like, okay, you know. So then my son comes downstairs, and he's like, "Man, what's going on? You hear that?" I said, "Yeah, I heard it, but there's nothing out there, right?" So we're going over the camera footage. We got cameras at our house, right? Again, we live in
Right.
a not so good area,
Right.
and we're hitting the cameras, and we hear it. We hear it, but there's nothing outside. And my son was like, "Yo, that sounds just like that video." So we're going through TikTok. And I tell you, we're going through TikTok for 45 minutes trying to find this video, neither one of us knowing, oh, we liked it. We can just go to our liked videos and look at it.
Right.
We find it, and it almost sounds identical to that voice. Like, I mean, almost identical. So, and then I get to researching more in the lore of the Skinwalker, and is if you start talking about it and really,
Exactly.
it's going to show up.
Yep.
So I was like, oh crap, because I was making podcasts about it. I was researching it. I was going to places that supposedly they was at or whatever here in Springfield, Ohio. And then all of a sudden that happened. Now, let's fast forward 2 nights. No, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
3 nights. Fast forward 3 nights. At this point in time, my mother-in-law lived across the street from us because Kendra wanted to live close to her mom. So we're laying in bed. Again, it's like, I'm gonna say like 2 o'clock this time, right? We just laying there chilling. She just got done. She owns her own business, so we just got done putting everything away. We're laying there talking. We hear her mom having a full blown conversation with somebody outside. And I'm like, what is she doing up at like 2 o'clock in the morning? And who is she talking to? Go outside. Before I opened the door, my wife and myself were right there. I opened the door and she's talking. As soon as the door opens, silence. And there ain't nobody out there. Not a soul. So I'm like, man, this is 2 times now. This is getting kind of off the wall a little bit. So my mother-in-law, she also has cameras on her house.
Right.
Both our cameras picked up her voice, and then her camera picked up something, which is like, it almost looks like half a body in my screen door, but then you can't see the bottom half. You could just see the top half of the person or whatever. At that point in time, I stopped. I stopped researching. I thought I was getting maybe way too close for comfort, or I'm just messing with some stuff I shouldn't be messing with. And, I decided I stopped there for a while. I didn't, look into it no more or whatever. But I just recently got back into the cryptids and everything, like the black-eyed children, the dog man, the Jersey Devil, what have you, because it's just so interesting not to look into it.
I'll tell you like this. The issue that people run into, and bro, I was so deep into the paranormal field that I went to all the biggest interviews you could ever do. I talked to people, and I did interviews in Africa. I did interviews in China. I mean, before people were like storytelling, before storytelling became a thing, like to where everybody's doing it, I was doing it. And the problem that I face is, they called it the hitchhiker effect, but it's really not the hitchhiker effect. It's that the more you talk about certain entities, you're locating. It's like you're shining a light into the darkness, and they know that you're talking about them, so they come to pay you a visit. And so there's certain things I never talked about because I talked about them privately, and they came for a visit. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like that was insane. There's other things I talked about publicly, and then after a while, they came to visit.
Right.
And I came to the conclusion that these things want the attention. So anybody that's going to partner with them to get them attention, to help get their name out, they're like influencers. Honestly, they're a lot like spiritual influencers. So the more anybody they can partner with to get their name out, so they can get more accessible people, they're going to hook up with you, right?
Right.
There's a spirit out of Africa, out of Nigeria. I'm not going to say the spirit's name, but this thing is a woman with the tail of an alligator. And I told that story privately to Heather Wade of Midnight in the Desert before Kingdom of Nye, right before she left. And at that point in time, I lived at an apartment complex where there was this swimming pool in front of me, right? And so I told her that I think I did a show Friday night into Saturday morning. I want to say it was Friday night into Saturday, maybe Thursday into Friday. The following night, Saturday night, I'm out there, and it looks like somebody's swimming in the pool, but there's nobody swimming in the pool. Like how you can see like an alligator tail goes in the water, you see kind of like it leaves this trail. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, hold on, homie, like what's in the pool? And I'm sitting smoking my cigar. I'm like, nah, this is crazy. There's some swimming in the pool. But I don't see nothing. Bro, I go inside to get a lighter because I had the little big lighter and that wasn't working. And I went to get one of those butane lighters. So I go inside, open the kitchen drawer, get the butane lighter, come back out, and you see this head come up out of the water, which is a woman's head, but you cannot see a body in the water. You just see a head come up, and it's a woman, and she has this. She's pretty too. She's real pretty, but she has these weird alligator eyes, and then she has these things on top of her head that's like these ridges. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is this? I'm like, what is this? And then in my mind, I hear, well, you've been talking about me. You summoned me. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm sorry. I did not summon you. Maybe me and you got a miscommunication.
Right. There's no summoning going on.
We have a miscommunication going on, my lady. I'm not interested in you whatsoever. And then going. I was like, this is insane. And so when you're going into the cryptid realm, as you move into cryptids, you come to realize it's the same thing as when you go on paranormal ghost hunting, demon hunting, fallen angel hunting, skinwalking hunting. It's all about the attention that you give these things. And some of them are thirsty for attention. They need someone to kind of carry the word about them around.
Right.
And talk about them. Like when I left the Dogman field, the spirit that is the entity that is behind Dogman, his name is Caillou. It's a Hawaiian entity. What they talk about in Hawaii. It's a giant werewolf thing with a big massive head. When I left, I would have dreams where this thing would come to me and would sit at a table and would negotiate with me. And it would say, hey, I know you left the field because of you being aggravated by this and this and this and this. Well, I'll do this if you come back and do interviews and talk about me.
Right.
I'm really not interested in talking about you. I know what she is. And it would be like for like a week in a row. It was like every night, like this negotiation. And finally, I was like, listen, I wish you the best of luck, homie. I'm not interested in you. I'm not even. I've researched the topic. I understand what it is. I know what it is. I probably know more than anybody else. I'm not interested in dealing with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that was it. And so these entities are looking for people to promote them.
Right.
And because everything in this world is vying for attention, and people don't get that. Everything is fighting for the attention of humanity.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I'm into the field of demonology. I'm not a demonologist. I'm not going to sit there and say that I am, but I'm very
Right.
interested in it. And the one consistent thing that I've noticed about every demon that I've ever researched, it's attention. They want to get your attention so they can try to weasel their way in. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
a whole demon deity that will give you money and power, and all he wants in return, he doesn't, want your soul. He doesn't want you to worship Satan or anything like that. He wants you to put his name out there. He wants you to give him clout, pretty much, to get
Yep.
his name out there to make him grow. So
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand where you're coming from, and like it's just the paranormal field. It fascinates me, but it's also kind of insane to me how things work. It's almost like a hierarchy with everything
Yeah.
in it. So I try to learn as much as I can. I've been doing it since 2005. And like I said, I've been to many places. There's one particular place that I will never go back to. That's Ashmore Estates. I will never step foot in that place ever again.
Is that the insane asylum?
It is. It's in Illinois. It was
Yeah, I heard about that place.
yeah, it was a poorhouse. It was a farmhouse. It was an insane asylum. There's all sorts of things. Now I've gone twice. The first time I went, some things went down that I have never experienced before in my ever. Ever in my entire life. And I came face to face with it, and like you can tell right now I'm kind of uneasy talking about it. And
Right. Yeah.
I said to myself, I ain't never going back there ever. Buddy of mine knew I wanted to go to Villisca. Not Villisca, I'm sorry. He knew I wanted to go to Pine Lawn Manor, which is in the same state. So we're going to Pine Lawn. He goes, oh, by the way, I got us booked in Ashmore. And I said, man, like, why'd you do that to me, man? So I went in again, and the same thing. It was the same entity that I came up with. Um, it's just a giant dark. It's the scariest thing, but there's no features to it. It's just a shadow. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
scariest thing was as it's coming down the hallway, and like there's no windows. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing, and you could see that it's just darkening out the moonlight.
Yep.
So I'm like, how is this happening? And like you could feel it right in front of them. That was crazy. I did not like that at all. And that was one of the scariest moments that I've ever had in the paranormal field, especially with ghosts and demons and whatnot. So, but let's
There have been people that I've spoken to who were kids that had that exact same thing happen to them,
mm-hmm.
where they would have like they'd be in their bedroom and these giant dark entities will come through, and as they came through the hallway, come on, camera, quit playing. As they came through the hallway, the lights would go off as it moved through the hallway.
Yeah.
So like coming down your hallway, like you just laying in your bed, you can see down the hallway, see the living room. As this thing comes down the hallway, the lights, it blocks out the lights, and the lights go dim as it come towards you.
It's
And what I didn't understand back then, Ed, was like I would go through and vet people's stories. So I would spend significant amount of time talking to people,
mm-hmm.
and then these things will pop up, and I'd be like, "Yo, what you doing here?" But I didn't realize that. Okay, I made an agreement with this person.
Mm-hmm.
So me and this person in agreement, because literally a signed a written agreement. So I signed a written agreement to tell a story, which gave me the signed written rights to talk about the entity. And I was like, "This is when I came to realize, I was like, yo, this is crazy." I like privately, I sold a whole bunch of the rights to stories. I was like, look, y'all, people's like, well, man, you want to get rid of this? I said, yeah, you can have them for $1. What you mean $1? Yeah, you can take them. Like big old stack $1. Because I was like, nah, I'm gonna get rid of all these written agreements with these damn entities that are in covenant with people. It's like this don't make no sense.
Right.
But I had to exchange it for something.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll sell this to you for $1. These used to be mine, now they're yours. Like the transferring this to you,
Like
homie.
they're
I
going
ain't playing
with
on
you
these
now.
games.
Yeah, I heard you saying.
Yeah, this stuff is going with you. And it's crazy because one of the guys called me back and he was like, bro, I started recording some of the stories, man. And this is not creepypasta stuff. I said, I told you it wasn't creepypasta. He's like, no, dude, stuff's happening in my house, man. I was like, yeah, I told you it was the real deal, bro. and it was the real, it's
Oh,
real stories. It's not made up stuff. And
100%.
you know this because you're an investigator. You've
Oh,
seen this.
100%.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
I went to, there's a oddity store near where I'm
Hmm.
at. And I'm not going to say the name because I have these dolls that I got from it. And everybody wants
Right.
to know where I got them from. I don't want to give up my source where these dolls. It sounds stupid, I know. I don't want to give up my source where these dolls are because there's bunches of them. The whole backstory
Right.
was Mrs. Blankenship had these dolls. They're all porcelain dolls. They're old as old can be.
Okay.
One of them was made in like 1890, and I've got him just. If you touch him, he looks like he's gonna break. And the owner had contacted me and said, "Hey, I got something that you may want to be interested in." So I go to the oddity shop. I check them out. I hear the story and how Mrs. Blankenship was very sick, and she had, I'm telling you, like this room full of these dolls. The kids and the husband hated them. She became
Hmm.
very ill, to where she was bedridden. She couldn't move, but somehow these dolls' heads were moving, and they're moving places.
What?
Yeah, but she can't get up. So, and then they hear voices, different voices coming from the room, and when they go in there, they're like, "Oh, it's just mom." So when she passed away, the husband said, "Time to go." So they gathered them all up, took them to I think it was like a Goodwill or something, and dropped them off. And a day later, Goodwill contacted them and said, "You need to come get these. They're messing with the customers. I don't know. Ever since we've got these, customers are complaining. Lights are flickering on and off. We're hearing things that aren't there." So he comes back and gets them, and that's when he took them to my friend at the oddity store.
Hmm.
She contacted me. I went there and looked at them. I said, "Okay, I'll take. You've got what, 13 or 14 right now?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "I'll take them off your hands." I paid her what she wanted. I took them, and I've been investigating them for years. I'm talking like maybe 5 or 6 years now. I've had these dolls, and
Hmm.
I keep them all in cases. They're not to be touched. They're not even in my home. They're in my office. And
Wow.
every time I investigate these dolls, something happens. Every time. And I just picked up from another Goodwill. Well, it's not
Uh-huh.
Goodwill, it's just a thrift store. They were African effigy dolls.
No.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Oh yeah, I got three of them now, right? So the first one was sent to me by my wife's friend, who is a customer of hers, and they're real good friends. And she goes, "My mom got me this," and my wife was like, "Your mama doesn't like you, honey. Why is she
Yeah.
buying you this?"
Yeah.
I investigated it, and I'm telling you, the string of bad luck that started happening. I have diabetes. All right, I have really bad diabetes. But as soon as I got that damn effigy doll, that's when the amputation started.
Wow.
I'm dead serious. I'm thinking, okay, it's just the diabetes, it's getting worse, whatever, whatever. And I put the effigy doll where it goes. They're in my office, which is far away from my home. It's in a
Hmm.
building that I own. That's it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I have cameras, CC cameras all the time going through there. And I get different, like right now I'm talking to you and I'm getting
Hmm.
notifications that there's motion being detected from where the doll.
Wow.
There's motion here, sound detected, sound detected. And so I said, I'm getting a little sick, so maybe I should lay off the dolls for a little bit. So I put them
Hmm.
up, and because I wouldn't talk to them, because she told me with the dolls specifically, the African effigy dolls, I don't know if this is true with, but if I don't talk to these dolls daily, things will happen. Like you have to
Hmm.
communicate with them. And I just stopped communicating with them, and I started going even more downhill. I got an infection from an ulcer on my foot, which made me septic. I've almost died twice.
Hmm.
Now that I incorporate them in my day, I'm cool. Like, I'm not cool. I got diabetes, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like dying in the hospital. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, so the attachments are real, man. Like, even if it's like you said, like a written contract, you're still agreeing to take that upon
Yeah.
you.
You're agreeing to it.
So when I
Hmm.
took them dolls, I agreed on it with the rules that came with them. So I knew what I was getting into. And now that I got,
No, sir.
oh, wait a minute, stay connected to what? Oh, my Zoom thing is saying I'm running out of minutes. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I don't know how much longer I got, James.
Oh yeah, it says remaining time 9 minutes.
All right.
Well, let's keep on going. We'll
Oh,
keep
well,
on
we're
going.
gonna
You can
go. Yeah,
splice
yeah,
it. But you were saying, so I'm gonna tell you this. The, I had a guy offer to give me this African mask.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Hey man, I really appreciate you. I want to give you this mask." And he was like, "Man, it's a great gift." Da 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 da. And he sent me a picture of it. Then he calls me and we start talking. And I was like, "Are you trying to kill me?" He was like, "What?" I said, "You trying to kill me?" I said, "You got that mask from somebody as a gift, and you want to regift that mask because it's a spirit attached to it."
Oh yeah.
And I had already seen masks like that in New Orleans inside of what they call like the little botanical shops.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a friend of mine that owned one. He was like, "Hey, that thing right there, because it was up on the wall and it was in a glass case." He said, "That thing right there, if you ever see anybody with that thing right there, they're gonna try and give it to you." He said, "Well, no matter what you do, don't ever take that." And he was like, "It's what the movie The Mask is made about." And I was like, "What movie?" He was like, "The Jim Carrey movie, The Mask,
Yeah, I
where the
heard
guy put
about
it on,
that.
he
Yeah,
get
yeah,
possessed."
yeah.
He said, "It's about that thing." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay," because I wanted to understand. I did so much, like I learned from talking to people, so I would just go talk to people that were in the fields because I wanted to know what was going on because I was
Right.
talking to people who had crazy stuff. So when you agree to take those things, like if
Mm-hmm.
you take an idol, which is the little statue,
Yep.
then that idol's supposed to sit on an altar, and that idol's you're supposed to make a sacrifice. That sacrifice maybe just be that you spend time talking to it.
Yep.
I have two friends of mine. They went to Mexico and they brought back this little bitty idol. And I'm in their backyard smoking cigars, and I look down. I'm like, "What the hell is that?" So I knock on the door. "Hey man, come out here. Where you get this from?" "Oh man, well, they're two gay guys." They're like, "Oh, we got this from Mexico. It is so gorgeous, James." And I'm like, "No, that's an idol." And I was like, "What's been going on since y'all had it?" "Oh, nothing's gone wrong. Nothing. Everything has been great." Da 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 da. "Oh, okay, all right, cool. Whatever. It's not bothering y'all, ain't bothering me." Two
Right.
weeks later, they call me. Say, "Man, what made you think that something was going on with the idol?" I was like, "Because I know it's an idol." And I said, "I know it's a little bitty god." I said, "And you're supposed to do something for it."
Yeah.
I said, you just brought it into your house. They had an electric fire inside the walls in their house. They had a pipe break under the foundation. They had something ran through their fence, but they couldn't figure out what it was that ran through the wooden fence and like left. You know how in the cartoons you have like the Wile E. Coyote thing where they run through the
Yeah, it
fence and
runs
it'll leave
through.
the
It's got like
explosion?
the yeah,
Something
yeah,
ran through their damn fence and they couldn't figure out what ran through the fence.
yeah.
And he was like, "Man, all this crazy stuff is going on." I said, "Well, I think you should probably like, get rid of the idol that you got in your backyard that you brought back from Mexico, that you bought at some authentic Mexican shop." Like, I'm like, "So you went to authentic, Mexican bruja shop or something?" They don't even,
Yeah.
but they don't understand. And I was like, "Bro, you guys are crazy, man. There's something wrong with y'all."
Right, and then like my let's see, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's very into this as well. She's a
Mm-hmm.
ordained minister. She likes to go through, do the holy waters, say the word of the Lord, whatever, whatever. And we'll be walking through places like we like going thrifting, thrift stores, and she'll see something,
Mm-hmm.
and she'll be like, "You got to get that," and I'll be like, "Well, why?" She goes, "There's something about it. You got to get it. You just got to get it." So I'll pick it up and I'll look at it, and I'm like, I don't feel I don't feel that stuff unless I'm investigating somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't feel it, just to feel it or whatever. But half the time I'm like, oh man, she just, she crazy. She's, you know. But no, I actually took something home one time, and yeah, I still have it, and it's very active. It will speak to you like it'll make the equipment go crazy every single time. Never had a bad investigation with this thing ever. It doesn't do anything bad, nothing like that. I just think it likes to communicate and mess with people, like a prankster. You know what I
Right.
mean, like a jokester or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like stuff will move. Like I had even like I'm not in my office right now. My mother-in-law had a severe heart attack, so we're kind of staying with her.
Uh-huh.
And so everything that's in my office is what I usually use. Usually there'd be a big microphone right here, and I got the headphones on or
Right, right,
whatever.
right.
So and it's all right there. So I'd be able to show you all this stuff, but I'm not there unfortunately. But I'll send you some pictures and stuff. But yeah, it never lets you down. It will always communicate with you somehow. It'll move stuff. Like I'll place like I don't know. I'll just set something down. I'll walk away for a couple
Mm-hmm.
minutes and it's on the other side of the room. And I'm like,
Oh no.
like, how did that happen? Because I'm a paranormal investigator, but I used to be a huge skeptic paranormal investigator. Like I was into it,
Right.
but I couldn't, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I was like, there's no way this is real. No way. Until the night with the Ouija board. Then I became full blown, this is real, it's all real, everything is just, it's real. And that's why I want to bring up the whole God aspect of everything. So here's my question to you. If I get this wrong, please tell me. I have read through the Bible a lot in my life, but I have not read through the entire Bible. I have heard my father, who was very huge into the Bible, tell me that it says in the Bible not to go looking for spirits.
Yes.
Okay. And then my dad is terrified of that because I do this. So every time I get around my dad, it's almost like I'm getting holy water thrown at me from every angle. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, God is my savior. Jesus is my savior. I accept them with all love. But the other aspect of it, why? I don't know how to ask this question. Why would there be so much evil here on earth? Because I'm telling you, I've seen evil. Like all my brothers and everything, military, we've seen all the evils of man. Man is the most evilest thing walking the planet. Can be. They can also be the most sweetest thing walking the planet. But I want to know is, why are we not supposed to go look for it? If it is jumping out at us like that.
Okay, can I be brutally honest? What you want? You want Dark Waters level 0, Dark Waters level 10.
Dark Waters
it's kind of like 10. Choose your own adventure.
Level 10, bro.
Okay, Dark Waters level 10. Dark Waters level 10. The Bible actually talks about don't go seek after diviners and soothsayers and sorcerers, because there's a judgment for doing said thing. So in spiritual laws are spiritual laws. So what you're right now engaging is you just talked about the spiritual law of intimacy with a deity that's like a statue.
Correct.
You're engaging in a spiritual exchange with that thing. It says, okay, if you don't talk to me every day, then I'm going to do something to hurt you, right? Correct. So you talk to it, it's cool. So you're making a spiritual exchange with a deity and entity. The reason why the Bible tells you not to do that is because God is all-knowing, and he knows these things. So he knows this entity that you're going to do a deal with, that entity is going to either help you, he's going to make you rich, or he's going to add sorrow to something in your life. And so when people get to partnering with those entities, they turn around and they reap the rewards of whatever that spirit is. So it's no different than if you pick up I got to speed it up because we got 1 minute. It's no different if you pick up a entity that's unto perversion. Like there's these little bitty African idols that come from the original tribes where people did sex magic, and they basically look like damn dildos, right? If you pick that thing up and you bring it into your house, and then you start having perverted dreams over a time period, it's because now you've brought that little god into your house and you make an exchange with him. And next thing you know, he will remake you in his own image, and next thing you know, you become a perverted person, right? So God tells you not to do that because he knows exactly what's going to happen. The most important thing to understand is you're gaining knowledge of that spirit. So that just the example, you knowing what to do to appease it, you gain knowledge of it. So you become intimate with it because you talk to it every day, right?
Right.
On the other side of the spectrum, there's the God of heaven, there's Jesus Christ, who says, okay, be intimate with me, and I will reward you. I will communicate with you. I will teach you. I will allow you to grow and prosper. Now, quickly to answer the question of why there's so much evil in the world. There's evil in the world because men are evil, not because of God. There's evil in the world because the hearts of men are desperately wicked. That's why when you encounter evil, you're encountering it primarily through a man or a woman, or when you encounter evil, you encounter it via the decisions of your bloodline. So the reason why you shouldn't be doing what you're doing is because it's bigger than just you making a decision to go out and investigate. It's when you bring an idol into your house, then a curse comes upon your son and your daughters, your grandchildren, everybody else, because you violated a spiritual law. And you can't quench or get rid of that thirst. You can't like beat darkness with darkness. You have to beat it with light. The people who have that problem because you kind of want to investigate, and you can believe in Jesus Christ, and his name is going to work no matter what. But then you get to the point to where you have the on note cards, like, okay, let me see what this is. And then at first I was comparing the notes from my note cards, like these little white index cards. I still keep index cards everywhere. And I was comparing, I was like, hold on, okay, so Larry has this, and Melanie has this, and They all had encounters. And I was like, but all their family profiles are the same. And so then I started making a point of asking people everything about their family.
Hmm.
And that's when it started to jump off the page at me. There were people who went back 2 generations, and those generations were generations that were participating in sorcery, divination, and witchcraft. And then when it got to the children that were at the 3rd generation or 4th generation, they were either afflicted with sickness, illness, and disease, or those people were madness and insanity. They'd be like, well, my sister went insane and she's in an insane institute. And I'd be like, this is crazy. And then I start to understand the spiritual lay of the land
Yeah.
of how it works. So the reason why God tells you not to do it is because he's the one that created the rules and laws, and he knows exactly how it's going to turn out.
Gotcha.
Now,
Gotcha.
as a Christian in this field, I mean, I've been in the field. There's rules there's been hard rules that I said, like I don't bring stuff home. Like if I'm
Right.
in a thrift store, matter of fact, I don't shop in thrift stores. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah.
know it's
Yeah.
been in somebody else's house. But
Right.
there's hard rules that I have. My rule is I spend time with my God, with Jesus Christ, and I spend a significant amount of time with him every day because whoever we give our attention to, that is our God. The problem is in the cryptid field and in the paranormal field, you end up picking up and heaping gods to yourself because people go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing, and they make all these agreements, and those agreements are legal and binding, and you can't really tell what is afflicting you or what is hurting you. Am I making sense to you?
Oh yeah, you're making 100% sense.
Yeah. Um, and so just for the audience, if you're one of those people that you found yourself in that situation, a trip to the courts of heaven, it'll do it for you, especially if you're a Christian. Like say you went to church with your parents and you got baptized or you went to Catholic school and you're a Christian. A trip to the courts of heaven will do it because you need to go in and renounce all the legal rights that those entities have on you. But if
Hmm.
you're an investigator and you intend on investigating and not stopping investigating, then you still need to have an understanding that when you went into the territory, so like let's say that insane asylum, if you was like, hey James, we're gonna go to insane asylum, I bet you done lost your damn mind, Ed. I'm not going into no insane asylum. Well, bro, let's go. No, Ed, because now I'm legally agreeing to come on this thing's territory. That's his territory. And as soon as I step foot there, he's like, oh, I got you, boy. You decided to come in my house. So I ain't coming in your house because I want you to come in my house. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
okay.
Now,
Yeah. 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 I get it. I get it.
so it's a legal binding agreement when you go. That's how come you'll see people who go on like they go out into certain areas where they know there's Bigfoot. Man, there's Bigfoot in this area. I'm going to this Bigfoot area. And then they have the most horrific Bigfoot encounter that includes a Bigfoot, that includes a spirit that's got a hood over his head with glowing white eyes, that
Hmm.
includes little bitty gray aliens, that include little bitty goblin looking creatures. And like, oh my God, I had the worst experience ever. No, 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 no. Those entities marketed that area. That's why it's popular.
Yeah.
You decided you was gonna go into their territory. You
Right.
agreed the minute you stepped foot out there. I remember Tony Merkel was doing his Dogman investigation. It was his very first documentary. And he was like, I'm gonna call you for my documentary and blah 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 blah. So he called me. He was like, we getting ready to go into this Dogman territory. What do you think? I said, I'm just gonna tell you don't go, bro, because you coming into agreement with what's there. And whatever's there, it's more there than just Dogman.
Yeah.
And it was like a long conversation. He kind of edited a little cheesy. Tony, you bad for how you edited that. Because he edited like he got off the phone and he was like, Dog Water says I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm like, dude, why you going to do me like that? You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
man, that's dirty,
He went
man.
to the
Why?
territory.
Why?
Because, I mean, he did it for, I'm not mad at him. He did it because it adds this flair to it's a good
Right.
editing.
Right. Right.
But he went out into that territory, went out into those woods, and they had all kind of stupid encounters with things. And I'm pretty sure they brought back things home with them that attached to them because that particular area is an area where those entities are. And you have to be mindful of that while you're call yourself investigating. That's why after I went to Taylor, Mississippi, I never really went to anywhere else again because I was like, that's stupid. It don't make no sense. I decided to go where I knew it was. Like I knew for a fact, verified, that's where you find this thing. And then boom, I get an encounter. I don't have no right to be scared. I went looking for it. So to you guys out there who are investigators, understand that when you go there, that's the agreement that you made is that
Right.
you're stepping onto his territory.
The,
And
the,
there'll be
the,
people who be like, they'll be like, oh, I cover myself in a ball of light and a ball of energy. That ain't about to help you
no.
because by
No.
agreement, that's his territory.
Yep.
That's like
It-
saying, I'm going to go sit on Satan's throne. Man, you crazy. Leave Satan
It-
alone.
it used to be that when I would go to these places, I would always, and I still do because it gives me kind of like a calming feeling. I say a prayer before I start the investigation, and I say a
Mm-hmm.
prayer when I end the investigation. I always tell
Mm-hmm.
the entities that they cannot follow me; they have to stay where they're at, just to give myself a peace of mind. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that the Lord he protects us from things that shouldn't. But I get where you're coming from too. We're going and trying to find it. So we're stepping in its like little area. You know, this is my spot. You're coming in here, so now you're just going to have to deal with whatever I give you.
On top of that, and you're tempting the Lord. That's why I don't do it, because it's like the Bible says, "Do
Yeah.
not tempt the Lord thy God." So I'm
Yo,
like,
yeah.
Lord, I'm gonna see if you will protect me. I'm about to go out here where they got alligator man, they got dog man, they got Bigfoot, they got giant spirits, they got UFOs, and Lord, you gonna protect me. No, I ain't doing none of that. Look, I'm staying out of there. And I'm gonna go. If you want to tell me about your story where you went, now I'll listen, but I ain't about to go up in there. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And go looking for it.
I watched your one video that you was up there with some engineers and you went deep into the woods and you had to like set up something and there's like these little goblin things up there.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that and I
That's
was
in the
like,
woods of Arkansas.
yeah, and I was like, oh my god! Like the biggest thing I've been wanting to do is I want to go to the Appalachian Forest,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife is totally against it. You're not going in there. I've heard way too many stories. You know that we got family that live up there, and they tell us way too many stories. But for some reason, and I don't know if this is like temptation of Satan tempting me because it's what I like to do or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go. I do. I really want to go so bad. And I can't. And I can't. The only reason, the way I can tell you why, is just for the fact that I want to prove. Like my biggest thing about the paranormal is I want to prove it. I want it to be recognized for what it is. And I know a lot of people will be bad mouthing, which everybody bad mouths something. That's just what it is in the world today. But I want it to be recognized as something for real. Like not
Right.
everybody's out there jumping into a house going, "Oh my God, you hear that? It's a demon." Like a lot of people do
Right.
that. They be going in like, "Oh, it's demonic. It's something evil,"
Mm-hmm.
when half the time it's not. It's just a residual haunting where the person has passed. They don't know they've passed, and they just reliving their life every day. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Mm-hmm.
hear a certain noise, like say you hear in your house every day, same time, or something moves every day, same time. That could be a residual haunting, where it's just a stain in time where that spirit doesn't know, and they're just living their normal day to day.
Man, that spirit gonna get his punk ass out my house. I don't play none of that. I ain't
Yeah.
got no. You ain't touching on nothing. You ain't knocking on nothing. You ain't doing. This ain't your house. You
Now,
go your ass where you belong.
now I tell you, I've had some things follow me to my house. When I went
Mm-hmm.
to Mansfield Reformatory, something came back from there.
I
Um,
bet it did.
oh, it did. 100% came back. I remember I just got home, and it was a long night. We stayed up all night, and then I drove all the way back. I got home, laid down. I was like, man, I'm gonna go to sleep for like 9 hours because I'm exhausted. And then I kept hearing what sounded like low key talking. So,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I live in a not so good area. At the time, I did, and I'm like, man, someone done broke in again. So I'm looking around the house. I don't see nothing. I don't find nothing. My wife's gone. She's off at the doctor's office with her mom. Kids are at school. Yada yada yada. It's just me and my dogs. And I have the two of the biggest pit bulls you would ever see in your life, but they scared of everything.
Right.
Everything. So they're hearing the same thing. They got to jump in the bed too, get under the blanket. Now they're freaking out. And I kept hearing this talking. I couldn't make out what it was saying. And I happened to roll over. I was getting mad at this point because I thought either somebody's outside or someone's inside. Someone's messing with me. So I roll over to get up to go to the bathroom, and right behind that door, James, I swear to you, as I'm breathing, it looked like somebody was standing behind that door.
Mm-hmm.
I had thought somebody got in. They hiding behind that door. So I
Mm-hmm.
kicked the crap out that door from where it was because I'm like, I'm not
Right.
trying to get killed. You know, what if this is some, drug addict come in, they want money or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I kicked the crap out this door. I mean, I kicked this door with a vengeance, and there was nothing behind it. So now, not only do I have to deal with the spirit that's there, I got to deal with my wife, who is going to be very angry with the broken door in the house.
And a big hole in the wall in the house. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I to this day, there was something behind that door, and I have no
Oh
idea
no.
what it was. And
No,
then,
I know it to be true, bro. I've
oh
seen I the things that I've seen have convinced me that that's why I'm so convinced that I don't need to mess with it in that manner. Because the things that I've seen, I've been outside in the middle of the night going to my car to get like a book of matches,
mm-hmm,
and a shadow figured entity lands in a tree.
mm-hmm.
Imagine like a giant bat bird thing lands in a tree and you see it.
Oh, heart attack.
And
I'd have
like
one.
you literally see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, what the hell is that thing? What the hell is going on? Um, so I've seen so many different things that I know it to be real. So, like for example, when I was dealing with Dogman, I would never tell people that I was trying to prove that Dogman was real, because I came to the realization when I started looking at numbers that there's only a certain percentage of people that have an interest into this topic. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like the topic of cryptids. There's a very small percentage of the community, the world, that has an interest in it. And the United States population has an interest in it. And so I kind of took it as like a personal adventure to learn about things, as a way of kind of building some influence. And then when I got to the point where I realized that the entities themselves were influencers, I was like, yo, I'm not partnering with you no more. And I just, for the audience, understand that the entities are influencers. The best way to put it is they are influencers. Their job is to influence you
Yeah.
as a person who has dominion in this earth. So their job is to influence you, to move you in a direction that they want you to go to get something out of you. And once I realized, okay, so Dogman is a damn werewolf that influences people, I was like, I'm done with it. And then I noticed that the influence of the field kind of tapered off when I left away. And then it
Mm-hmm.
kind of tanked, and then it kind of worked its way back. And now they got some more people that are in the field that are talking about it. And
Right.
so now it's found somebody else to partner with. And you'll notice if you pay attention to all those fields, they have their ups and their downs, because there's wars and battles within the fields where people are trying to compete with each other, which is just stupid. You want to
Right.
argue with me over something that less than 0.025% of the population believe in, but whatever, it's crazy. So I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, y'all got to be careful. Enjoy what you enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I would just say that if you're going to be an investigator, then you need to have, I would say you need to have a super strong prayer life before you go anywhere.
Oh yeah.
And it can't be like, it can't be, now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep, because you're going to get your head knocked off your shoulders
Yeah, you got to have
playing
a
around with
real
those
heart to
things.
heart with the Lord before you go and do
Yeah,
any of this
before
stuff,
you
man.
deal with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But Ed, I gotta run, brother, because I got a 5 o'clock meeting. So I wanted to make sure we got our full hour in, brother.
Hey, James, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on the show, having these discussions with me and everything. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll do it again sometime. I have a Westgate, which we're gonna do something where I got a little more time. All right.
100%, absolutely.
Okay, brother. All right.
All right, bye bye.